Get everyone here. Cameras on if you're able. Let's think of and get in the chat on positive focus. And we're going to have an awesome session today. Curtis, you want to chime in on what the actual title of today's session was? Are you muted? I think we called it like social digital prospecting, something like that.
Yeah. We're going to talk about social media and how it plays into prospecting, and how, most people just mostly waste their time on social media and it doesn't do anything good for their business. So
yeah, I just got back on Facebook after being off of it for like 75 days.
It's a good cleanse.
Well, now I'm back in it again. So I don't know what I achieved. All right, cool. So we're going to do a positive focus here. We'll take a couple of you, and then we're going to have a great conversation with a guy I've known for many years. And they've been singularly focused on the problem that is most prevalent in the industry now. Where are all the listings? So let's do positive focus. Unmute yourself. Cameras on if you guys are able. Able. I like to see your pretty faces. All right, who's first? Win, production-related win, last 7 days, something that you're proud of or grateful for, or something that we could learn from. And welcome B School, welcome Game Changers, welcome guests. Catherine, you have a win. Surely you have a win. Phil, surely.
Yes, I got one.
All right, what is it?
I sold a house to this darling couple a couple of years ago, and we've kept in touch. And so they called me last week and they want me to sell it for them. Which is so great.
Are they still a darling couple? They're not getting divorced, right?
Oh, no. They're both,
Okay,
this is the craziest thing. They're both teachers, right? So they don't even make enough money to be living in our community, because this is a, $1 million plus, but they do everything themselves. They fix everything up themselves, which I love. Anyway, they're going to move up to Maine, and we're going to sell this house. And I think they're going to make about $400,000 or $500,000 profit
in 2 years. That's
that
awesome.
Makes me super happy about that.
That is awesome. All right, who else has a positive focus? And then we'll get into the topic of the day. One more good win. Who looks like they had a win?
I was circle prospecting this morning and only did it for 2 hours and got 2 leads. And one lady's literally going to be selling end of the year, downsizing, getting out of the area, does not have an agent, and is open to interviewing. So that's pretty solid.
Awesome. Just listed, just sold. What lead source?
Just cold calling the neighborhood that I have a buyer in. Wink.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We all got buyers in all the neighborhoods.
That's right.
That's awesome. Well, that's a great lead in. I'm gonna Stacy, do I spotlight or pin? Spotlight, right?
Spotlight. Yep, I can do it for you.
All right. Oops, I
did.
did.
You did it.
All right. So let me I'll add a spotlight here. All right, Curtis, let me tee up the conversation here. So it is easy in our industry to get distracted with all the shiny objects out there. And I got into real estate in 2007. I feel like almost when tech was just like really ramping up in our industry. I remember there was only really Realty Generator at the time, which I think Market Leader bought or something like that. And then Boomtown was like the next piece of tech on the scene. But I remember, as far as like monthly sending money to a technology company, that RedX was probably the second and the longest. So I didn't change CRMs, and I never changed lead providers as far as expired FSBOs, FURBOs, and Circle and all of that stuff. So and I love companies and guys and girls that are so laser focused. Like, these guys have been at the one thing, helping our industry get more listings via technology and data and all of the ways that you could possibly iterate and improve on all of that. They have been crazy fanatical, like the ultimate nerds of their little niche. And that's why I love these guys. That we guard this community against anyone looking to pitch anything. There are dozens and dozens of sort of bolt-on technologies and things that will have you distracted. And many times there's really not a body of evidence that thing works. So these guys have been at it for, Curtis, I want you to tell like the 60-second story of Red X, and then we'll just have an open conversation. We'll kind of show what you guys have been up to lately, but we're going to get into the tactical part of using data, using social, to make the lift of connecting with and getting in front of more sellers. But Curtis, tell us, like, when did Red X even start?
2003. So we're going into our 20-year anniversary is next month. So we were around in 03 when it was a hot market. Everybody thought there's no additional ways to get listings, and we started with expireds and the idea of going out and finding and skip tracing a phone number in 2003 was mind blowing. I mean, you still had phone books that were being delivered, and your Gmail didn't even start till 05. Your first iPhone was 07. So 2003 was pretty early to get into the big data space. And we were about finding phone numbers so that people could prospect expireds to get listings. And we never intended to just be an expired company. We really intended to be an acquisition, a customer acquisition kind of company. But it was so niche, and it was so easy to help agents work expireds and then FSBOs and the FURBOs. And really that came down to audience, which is a big part of the topic that we're going to talk about today is where you spend your time and energy needs to be on people who are closest to a transaction. And that's not an internet lead that costs a fortune that has a sales cycle of 15 months with less than 2% conversion, right?
Yeah.
It's people who are going to transact in the next 90 days or 180 days, and you need to put your focus there. So we started way back then doing that and helping agents, and everything we've done since then has been about bringing in tools to help agents get in front of the right people at the right time and help them convert that to listing production. So we've been doing it for a long time. I think you and I met in 08.
Yeah. And your role in the company has changed dramatically as well. Right.
Yeah. Well, yes. When I started, there was only, 6 of us but yeah, I started calling. I cold called agents selling expired listings. I made over 100,000 phone calls and figured out the script, and then built the sales team and then built it. And yeah, so and then I took over about 5 years ago. So
awesome. All right. So let's lay this out. Maybe let's start with, like, what have you learned over the last, 6-12 months? Inventory is light. What have you found that your most prolific agents on your platform, how are they using the platform? I definitely want to get into the social part of it. I was never a cold caller back in my day. I think you guys figured this out. I used your platform and the cascading folders and that whole thing for more direct response, and would send a series of letters. So I really never called the leads. We did eventually, but and that worked phenomenally well. I mean, we did like $700,000 one year on expireds. It was ridiculous. So it's a pretty versatile platform, but maybe a few things that you've learned in the current landscape, like what's working best as far as lead sources, or the way that dominant listing agents that are using your platform, how are they succeeding?
Yeah. So I wish I had a sexy answer for that, but the people who are making the most amount of money are the ones who just consistently work the data. And again, it's the people. You have expired listings and for sale by owners and geo leads. I mean, we heard the success story of just listed, just sold, circle prospecting this morning. You have people who are closest to a transaction, and if all of your energy is focused on finding those that are closest to a transaction, then you're going to do more production. And so, but I mean, the whole way we've adapted our program over the last several years has been, we did see that, gap of the people who were dominating were getting more and more and more of the market share. And contrary to what everybody's trying to do, it was not those that are hiring ISAs or hiring other companies, VAs to do calling for them. In fact, those people tend to do less production than those that are still the ones belly to belly to face. In fact, we do a survey every single year, and it's been the same for about 11 years, except for the year of COVID, about the 18 months that we were locked in our houses, dying slowly. But it's typically between 58 and 62% of agents who make $250,000 or more in commission still go out and knock on doors. And the reason is they just understand that human connection is still at the core of a transaction. People, when people have high emotional situations like buying or selling what will be most people's largest asset in their entire life, is they want human intervention, they want human interaction, they want connection, they want somebody to help them and guide them through the whole process. So the people who are really dominating are those that are getting in front of the people closest to a transaction, and then making the effort to have a connection with them. And that sound, I wish there was a better answer. You know, you started with the joke on this Zoom of saying, a button that you click and it will automatically get you $100,000 in listing. I go, agents would still want it for free. They would still, but it takes work. And if you put in the work, people are dominating. But the way we've adapted our business is to help facilitate what I'm talking about through social media and through better connection tools or contact tools. And so we started to see this disparity between people taking market share. And as we interviewed them, so what are you doing? They're like, I got this secret. I take all of the expired listings, I upload them to Facebook, and I target those people with all of my ads so that when I call them, they think I'm the biggest agent in town. And again, that sounds so simple, but people just aren't doing that. And they don't even know that you can do that. And they hear one thing because of clickbait on a big Facebook group that says, oh, Facebook just ruined ads for real estate agents. And so people aren't doing that anymore, but you can still take data, you can still upload it and target those specific people. So where the gentleman that had the success story this morning, well, now you have an appointment. Well, you could pull 1,000 properties around that appointment, and you could show them your videos all the time. And not only is the person going to be like, oh man, I just talked to this agent, he's like a big deal, but everybody in the neighborhood is going to think you're the biggest agent in that community as well, because they'll be seeing your videos and your social media content over and over and over again. So that's really, I mean, I just gave the whole thing away. We can just end now, but that's really the tools that we have built have been to facilitate that type of social media integration into your prospecting. It's not meant to be separate. People are trying to make social media the source of their listings and not a resource for their prospecting and marketing activities.
Awesome. So let's make this a workshop. Let's kind of open up the platform, kind of use this example of, so Richie is doubling down on his database, but he's also not afraid to pick up the phone and circle prospect and expireds and FSBOs and all that. I don't think I've ever seen the part of the platform that does the social side of it. So maybe we can see that as well. And guys, any questions that you guys have, just as this sort of goes, just ask the questions. There's not a lot of affiliate dollars here, but if you guys want the the setup fee waived, we've got a link that I posted in the chat that you guys can take advantage of. I do think any agent that wants to succeed needs this platform. We've had it for 15, 16 plus years, I believe. Yes. So if you can share your screen, we can just kind of get into it.
All right.
And anyone, I'll say this, anyone that's using the platform at a high level that has any tips and tricks to add, let's also chime in, get in the chat, and I can unmute you guys and we can kind of make this a workshop effort here.
Okay, are you seeing the right screen? Because I'm on two monitors here and I don't really know if it's showing the right screen.
I
You're
see
seeing the platform. Okay.
Vortex. Yep.
All right. So let me, not there. Let me click over here. Just one. because I do have a few slides that I'll show throughout the thing, but I want to at least share this right out of the gate, because it's a principle by which all marketing is based on. And because I'm here essentially marketing the information I'm trying to get you to buy into of prospecting the right way, I wanted to start with some value here. I just want you to understand that attention is the highest form of currency in our society today. And when people pay their attention to something, whether it's on social media, whether you're on the phone prospecting, whether you're face to face with them at an open house or community event, like their attention demands that you give them something in return. They're paying for something. They want an ROI on their attention. And those come in 4 categories. So just as we're talking about social media, you got to think about, if you're going to produce content, if you're going to make a post, if you're going to make a phone call, everything we're talking about needs to follow this basic marketing principle that if someone pays attention to you, that they expect something in return, and that is entertainment, information or education, motivation or inspiration, or maybe the most powerful is they want validation. They're listening to you for validation, right? I mean, and there's a lot of examples here, but you think about when Geico commercials first started and nobody cared. Now everybody hates commercials no matter what, because we just pay for streaming services to avoid them. But when Geico commercials first came out, they were funny, and nobody cared. Half the people who watch the Super Bowl because of the commercials, because they're willing to pay attention because they're going to get some sort of comedic relief, entertainment in return, right? So just as we're thinking and talking about social media and how we're doing this, the message that goes, and you tell me, Lars, we could get into the tactics of how we do this with our system. But if there's time, I'd really like to go again, because I don't want to be on here pitching the product as much as I want people to walk away going, hey, I can do some of this stuff. So I do have some other slides that walk them through how they would make a great Facebook ad. To target these people. Yeah, let's
slow down and do the presentation, then we can get into the tech afterwards.
Okay. All right. So forgive me, because you're going to have to try to follow my ADD, and Lars will help jump in if it gets out of hand here. But the whole principle of social media can be explained through hydroxypropyl beta cyclodextrin, and you don't have to write that down, but there's this great story around what this molecule is. And it was in 1993 when a chemist at Procter & Gamble came home. He'd been messing around with this chemical, and he comes home, and when he comes home, his wife was like, oh my gosh, you finally quit smoking. And she hugged him, and he was like, no, I didn't. She's like, I can't smell smoke on you at all. And that was where Febreze was discovered. And it's this chemical that does this. Well, they knew they were onto something. It was this fascinating chemical, and they knew it was a big deal. So they started to put millions and millions of dollars behind this. They hired the best marketing firm on the planet at the time to help them with this new thing. And if anybody's old enough to remember, the very first commercial for Febreze was this lady that had a really messy house and dogs, and the dog was on the couch, and she's like, now my couch doesn't have to smell anymore. And then they almost went bankrupt. And the point of this whole story is in your marketing, if you're not targeting the right people, you're going to fail. And it turned out that people who are smelly or live in smelly conditions don't know they're smelly and they don't care about getting rid of the smell. And that's why Febreze almost failed entirely until they remarketed to moms who had smelly teenagers. And then it started to pick up because they didn't want to live with the smell. And that's why the whole gym bag and everything, that's when it totally changed. But it had to do with their message going to the exact person. And so NAR did this big study where they took all the internet leads, and there's going to be this year 1 billion leads sold in our industry, 1 billion. and 1 billion leads are going to be sold and paid for, and we're only going to do like 4.5, 5 million transactions. And so NAR went out and did this study, and they found out that if you buy leads, internet leads, that on average, they have a 15-month sales cycle with less than 2% conversion. And if you need business now in 2023, because things are different in some markets right now than they have been, you can't afford to put all of your time and energy to try to get business 15 months from now with a less than 2% conversion. You have to put your focus on the 4% of people who are going to transact this year in the remaining part of 2023. And so there's a few ways to do this, and I'll go through this because we've already touched on a lot of this, but there's really 2 types of social media that I'll talk about. One is paid advertising. The other one is just kind of your organic social media strategy. And I'm going to talk about that, but this really plays directly into what we're talking about. It's that if instead of spending all of your time marketing to your entire community, where only 4% of them are actually going to turn over, and instead you put all of your time and energy into the 4%, now every conversation matters, right? This even goes against a little bit of circle prospecting, and I know that was an awesome story for circle prospecting, but think of if you only talk to the people who were like, yeah, I actually want to sell, and you didn't have to call them a whole neighborhood to get to that person. That would be more efficient prospecting if you could do that, right? And that's what an expired is. That's what a FSBO is. That's what, a vacant rental property that a landlord can't fill is. Those are people who want to transact right away. So if we take those people and then we put them into social media and we do that. And so here's something, if I've lost you already, come back and write this down, because we've spent millions and millions of dollars in advertising over the last, many, many years. And this is exactly how we create every ad campaign that we do to get really high producing results with really low click-through rates on paid advertising on social media. And this is the actual creative brief my team fills out. And so I'll give this to you. You start with audience. Who are you actually going after? And then you talk about what is their problem, because people are only paying for solutions to a problem, right? They're not buying your service. They're buying a solution to your problem. So with an expired, we're going to say the home didn't sell. And then we talk about how that makes them feel. Well, in our market right now, most of the expired listings feel regretful, right? They're like, dang it, if I would have sold a year ago, I probably would have made way more money and it would have sold with multiple offers in 48 hours. So they're discouraged, they're regretful. So then we try to put ourselves in their shoes and we go, okay, well, what are they saying? What are the questions? What are they actually saying in their head? And this is really important because Lars, we've been talking about this and on stage at the same events for a long time. And how many times have you heard it takes 7 to 12 touches to make an impression?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, research suggests close to 50 impressions. And the reason is because we are so bombarded with advertising and marketing in our world today, our brain is just shutting it all out. And the only way to get through that is if you speak directly to what their brain is already saying, because our brains are wired to solve problems, right? There's a lot of research that talks about go to bed with the problem and you'll wake up with the solution, because our brain doesn't sleep and it's continually looking for the solutions to our problems. So if you speak directly to their problem and their pain, you can get through all of the other crap that is bombarding their subconscious, and they'll pay attention to what you're saying because they're looking for something, right? So we talk about, what are they saying? Well, I wish I listed a year ago. Do you know how much money I've lost? What the hell are so many agents calling me for, right? An expired listing says that all the time. Where were all these agents when my house was listed? Maybe I'll just sell it on my own, right? We go through what are they thinking, and I'll get to where these things play in, where you'll want to take a screenshot. But then you need to talk about, okay, so what do we want them to feel? Like, where do we want them to go to take action? Well, if they felt hope because they're discouraged, they might actually take action, which is click on the ad. And then we just talk about, well, what can we say? And here's a trick. You can take this creative brief and just put it in. ChatGPT is unbelievable as a resource for first draft advertising. So write it in there and say, this is what an expired listing is. You know, what problems might they have? And what do you think they're saying? And ChatGPT will just give you a whole bunch of stuff. And then you can even say, well, what could I say that could make them feel hopeful? And it will tell you what to say, right? So you can go through and what can I say to make them feel it? And then, of course, the solution is, what do they need to do? What do they need to do in order to solve their problem? For you as a real estate agent, it might be click here to schedule a free consultation, or click here to see my, 78-point selling plan, or whatever it is that you're giving away. It could just be, hey, let's just set up a call. So to the solution, right? And then this is where you want to screenshot it, because then we take that creative brief, and this is the anatomy of the post of the ad that you're doing. So your description is the primary description up top is what they're feeling because of what they're experiencing, right? And we just put that together. And then the video that you're going to make is going to validate all of their feelings, because, right, remember the click contract or the marketing contract, they're going to pay attention. You want to validate, and that is the most powerful. So your video needs to be about, I know it's frustrating. I'll bet you're getting tons of phone calls right now, from tons of agents that you wondered where they were when your house was listed, right? Your headline is what they're thinking. I'm feeling regret. The solution description is what we call the secondary description, which is down below. And then, of course, your call to action. So we take that creative brief and we put this on here because we're trying to speak to their brain to get through all the minutia so that we can reduce our ad spend and go. So if you take expired listings and you're only marketing to them, we've already reduced our ad spend by 95%, because we're only marketing to the people that are expired listings. And then we further reduce our ad spend and increase our conversion because we're speaking directly to the problem of that specific audience. Are we going too fast, or is this good, Lars? Okay. Any questions? I'm going to jump to organic social media.
And the reason why we can do ads is because we're going to have a set of folks that are predisposed to, they're going to see the ad and they're like, oh man, this ad is made for me, but we know it's made for them because they came out of your data set.
Right. This is why people think, oh, social media is listening to me. Actually, I think it is. We could talk about that later, our devices, but data, we operate in big data. If you pull up our system, we have filters in there that would tell you what kind of pets people have. Like if you wanted to get really creepy, you could make a video with the dog and target that to only people who have dogs that are expired listings, right? I mean, you could get pretty creepy here with the big data. So I said that because, Richie's got a dog in the picture behind him. So,
yeah, Richie has a question, and then Jerry has a question. Jerry, why don't you go first?
All right, thank you. So Curtis, you said earlier that it takes 7 to 12 touches in order to make an impression. So in your opinion, would that be like social media only, or calls, texts, and emails as well? And you even said sometimes 50 touches. So can you help a little kind of differentiate that?
Yeah. Thank you. Good clarifying question. What I'm saying is, if you're just doing your regular advertising, let's say you have a billboard up on the freeway, somebody would have to drive by that billboard 50 times before they would even recognize that billboard exists. And even then, 50 times might be low. And 7 to 12 touches is obsolete. That's completely obsolete. What I'm saying is, if what we're trying to do is we're trying to hack the brain so that you don't have to do 7 to 12 or even 50 touches. And you do that by speaking to the subconscious which is the pain or the problem that somebody's trying to overcome in that moment. Then you don't have to do 7 to 12 touches. You only have to do one, because and everybody's experienced this. You're scrolling through Facebook and you're like, I was just talking about buying those shoes or whatever it is. That's the first time you've seen that ad, but because it's so prominent in your brain is going to notice that one time. So I probably went through that a little fast. What I'm saying is we're trying to hack the system so you don't have to do that many touches. We're trying to hack the system so that you speak directly to them with one ad, so that they'll start to think about taking action. And a good example of this is news media. Like if there's a news article that says, oh, Delta flight, blah, 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 had an issue and had to make an emergency landing, most people won't even notice that headline. They'll just scroll on by it. But if you have a flight booked with Delta and it's in your mind and you read that headline, you're going to be, your brain is absolutely going to pay attention to that, because your brain is designed to pay attention to things that help you survive. And so we're doing the same thing with expired listings. They have a problem and we want to, or FSBOs or anybody, but they have a problem and we want to speak directly to that.
Curtis, can you go back one slide? Put up the text. Yeah, the creative brief. Yeah, if anyone wants to screenshot that as an example.
It's really a couple of ones. So here's the first part of it: audience, problem, what they're feeling, what they're thinking. I'll give that a second.
And then we have a question. So Will and Vero asked the question. I think so. The data. Where do you get the data to target? So this presentation is gonna describe one thing. Then we're gonna go into the data afterwards. So I think they'll answer your question here in just a little bit.
Yep. But let's talk about organic social media really quick. And organic social media, you need to think of it of what. So a reputation is built by continuous observation of someone, right? So I pulled this slide up because I've lived in the same neighborhood for 12 years. I have a lawn that is very cathartic for me. Like I like to do yard work. So I'm out there every Saturday. I'm the guy who trims all my bushes and I edge my lawn and I do all this. Well, I've done that every Saturday since I, moved into the property for 12 years. So I'm at a community event. And I have somebody come up to me and they go, "Oh, hey, you're in the White House on the corner." I go, "Yeah." And they go, "You're the lawn guy." I'm like, okay. I didn't know I was the lawn guy, but it's because that's where that person, it's what they had observed me doing over and over. So it built a reputation in that person's mind that that's who I was. And because observation is the first part of building a brand or a reputation, you've got to think of social media as what opportunities do you want people to have to be able to observe you in a certain way, not unauthentically, because you might be a lot of things in your life, but you have to give them opportunities to see you as a real estate professional, as a listing agent, as an agent that helps people where other agents couldn't get the job done. Like if you're working expires, you've got to give them that opportunity to see you in that way over and over again so that they can form an opinion or belief about you to form the right reputation that you want them to have about you. And so let me just give you 3 quick tips on how to do that. One is it's video is the name of the game. So I don't think we need to go into this too much because everybody uses social media and we just know video has to be at the basis of everything you're doing. Tip number 2 is you need to have multiple topics. And this is because the algorithm, because of how the social media algorithms work. So if you only ever post about the people who you sell homes to, anybody who's not in the market to buy or sell right now will be uninterested in that type of post. And they'll skim past it. And then Facebook goes, "This isn't very popular. I'm going to show it less to everyone." So you want to have a multiple variety of topics so that it's always appealing to someone in your following or who you're boosting your content to. So this is how we help people do that with a content wheel is you need to pick 4 or 5 different topics that are all based around the reputation you're trying to build in real estate. Okay, you're still going to post about whatever else you post on, your personal life, but I'm just talking about business and building a business reputation through organic social media. So let me just give you a couple examples, and I think it will make sense. So if you can pick a theme, maybe this person is new homeowners, maybe you live in a marketplace where that's a big deal, where it's new first-time home buyers. Well, your topics could be a variety of things, but that are still going to appeal to everybody that might be following you in your marketplace. So you might talk about schools or local recreation or local attractions, market updates. Everybody's interested in market updates, but then you're also going to talk about first-time home buyers or sellers, right? Selling to a first-time home buyer or whatever. You might talk about FHA loans and things like that. So you are appealing to where you specialize, but you're a variety of topics that appeal to everybody, that help build a reputation for you as a professional. This is a common theme we help people with. If they help with investors and work with a lot of investors, you're going to talk about interest rates and market stats. You're going to talk about real estate investing in general, property management, tips, tricks, problems, hacks, and then vacation and second homes. See, a variety of topics appeals to a wider percentage of your following, which makes it more popular, which means it gets shown more and more. This is probably the most generic one when people get caught up in trying to go on too worried about what their reputation is going to be. We just say, we'll just be a local expert, talk about market updates. Everybody in the neighborhood wants to know where the new home construction, the new neighborhoods, what's going on, developments, because that's either going to piss them off or it's going to make them excited. Community events and news, and then restaurants, local attractions, parks. I mean, it's crazy how much value you'll get by going to a park and being like, I don't know how long people have lived here, but if you've seen this park, it's amazing. The Frisbee disc golf course and whatever, you just make a quick video and post it because it shows that you're the local expert. But these videos keep going. And then the third tip is consistently post. Consistency over intensity is a rule throughout everything in life, but especially with social media. If you did 10 posts in 1 week and then waited 3 weeks and then 10 posts, that will not get you as much lift if you just did 1 post a week every single week. So the algorithm values consistency and recency, so you always have to be posting something new without a lot of gaps in between what you're posting. So here's where it gets pretty fun, because if you have a paid strategy and you have an organic strategy, especially on Facebook and Instagram, which is where I would focus the majority of your money, that's where the largest buying and selling demographic is. If you're only buyers, then maybe you're spend a lot of time on TikTok because of the younger demographic. But if you're doing listing production, Facebook, Instagram is where you want to spend your time. And Facebook, Instagram is really easy because it's both owned by Meta, and they have this whole concept of boosting. And this is where you take your organic content and you get to pay a little bit of money to put it in front of a new audience. And it's very, very cost effective because you're not trying to get them to click and fill out a form and generate an ad or a lead. What you're trying to do is give those people an opportunity to see you so that you'll build a reputation. So you could take those expired listings and you can upload that as a custom audience, and you can do ads, which you want to do because you want people to take action, but you just want them to have the opportunity to see you. And for like $1 or $2 a day, you could get in front of 2,000 to 3,000 people a month of a custom audience that you list. So back to Richie's example of the circle prospecting, if you uploaded 1,000 people in that neighborhood to social media, I mean, you could pay $30 for a month, and those people would see your video 2-3 times a piece in that whole neighborhood. So what is the difference then when you then make those calls? So a really common scenario, Lars, that you asked me, what are some of these top producers doing? This is a really common use case. I have a listing. I'm going to do an open house. So I take 1,000 properties around my open house, and I spend like 2 or 3 weeks making sure every single person around that open house sees that there's going to be an open house. I'm inviting them. The video that they'll commonly do is take a video and say, we're doing open house on this date. Let me show you, and give them a quick preview of the property, and then do that. But then you can upload it in, and you can do exactly what Richie did, is then you call everybody. Well, we hear all the time, like, oh, I don't know you, but I've seen your videos. And these are people who've never done videos before except one video, and put it and target it to a neighborhood. They just saw the video over and over again in that same neighborhood. So it just makes your prospecting easier when you do that. Or it makes it easier, when you're outdoor knocking, like we said, 60% of top producers still do. So, so I know I went through that really fast. If there's
Hey,
any
Richie,
question-
Richie had a question a minute ago. Richie, do you still have the question?
Yes, thank you. So how are you getting this? So you have to be obviously a business page to be able to pay to boost to these people, correct?
Facebook has some options for you to boost content as an individual and not a business. But we do recommend a business page because it gives you so much more options. I love this question. Here's the trick. Don't make your business page look like a business page. Make it look exactly like your personal page. The same profile, the same description, the same headline, the same banner image, everything. Make it exactly like your personal page, because if they interact with your business page, Facebook will start serving them up your personal page. And again, you're trying to build a brand or reputation that you want them to think like, man, Richie, you're everywhere. So you don't want a separate page on your business page. You want to make it look the same. And then you could have all the options for the ads too.
Got you. So you're able to export this data, this neighborhood of 1,000 people. I'm going to do an open house onto a CSV, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And we're putting this onto Facebook somehow. There's somewhere on Facebook that I can literally just export the CSV, and what is Facebook looking for? An address and a phone number?
A phone number and
email
email
address?
address. Yeah, phone and email is how they're going to then match that to their users. So it's never going to be 100%, but I keep saying 1,000 because that's their minimum that you need to upload for them to even create the audience. So out of those,
oh my goodness.
so out of 1,000, they might match 600 to 800 of them. It's not everybody,
Still
but
great.
still
Yeah, that's
pretty
still good.
amazing. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah. And if anybody wants to do this right now and you have data, because you absolutely should do this with your sphere of influence. You should export your sphere of influence, find other people to get it to 1,000 if it's not 1,000. And that is the number one thing you should be doing, is boosting your organic content to your sphere of influence so that you can stay top of mind. The other success story when we started the call was I sold a house 2 years ago and I've kept in touch with them. That, to me, that was like the key thing that she said, is I kept in touch with them. Otherwise, that couple would not have called her to list their home, but she kept in touch with them. So one way you keep in touch with your past clients is make sure that they're always seeing your videos online so they don't forget who you are. So
and once you have those custom audience loaded in, I just boosted a post the other day. Like, it's like 2 clicks on your cell phone. I mean, it's super, super easy.
Yep. So, and if you just Google how to create, Meta calls them target audiences. So if you just Google how to create a target audience, all 10 results on Google are going to be step-by-step instructions on how to do that. I'm going to show you how we help our clients do that through the app. But again,
yeah. So Janine asked a question that I think we're going to roll into in terms of how do you do it with expired. So I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
And Paul, I don't know what a creator account is versus a business account.
Yeah, creator account is going to give you even more options. That's different on Instagram, but you're going to be fine either way on those.
Awesome.
In fact, boosting, I would usually boost from my personal page, not my business page. So
Awesome.
because if you're your clients, you may already be connected to them. So you can boost to your followers and your custom audience at the same time.
Yeah.
So, all right. So this is our platform. If you're not familiar with it, I'll just orient you real quick. Over on the left side is all the different lead types that are very specific. My imports is where you would put your sphere of influence. Not that you're going to work this like a CRM. This is more of a prospecting tool than it is a CRM. But you're going to put everything in here. And of course, if you're unfamiliar, you could select the leads. You can use the auto dialer to call them. The geo leads is where you're going to do your circle prospecting. So I can pull in a neighborhood here. I can select a boundary, and pull in all the people that live in this area. Pull in the 500 people. These are right. I can get all the names, phone numbers, and email addresses for all these people, and I can pull those in and create folders. The nice thing about what we're doing here is you can create filters. So you could create a filter that says every expired that hasn't relisted, right, is a filter. Well, so this is where people are probably most familiar. It's what we've had for a lot of years, where they can pull it up and prospect and use the phone to prospect. Some of these new features in the last few years would be then ad builder, where I can come in here. When you first set this up, it connects to your Facebook. We don't collect any ad spend. That's the thing. When you're paying these companies to generate Facebook ads, they're charging you 20 or 25% on top of the ad spend. So you think you're getting $1,000 of leads, but they're taking 25% of that as the fee. So we don't do anything. If you're going to boost on Facebook, you pay Facebook for that. So it costs you the $30 instead of marking it up to have somebody else do it. So you connect this to your Facebook account, and then you can do everything right from within our app. So I could say, well, I'm just going to build an ad here, and I'm going to market that to whatever filter I have. So if you had a filter in here that said, I'm going to market to just expired listings, what this does is it creates that custom audience in Meta in the back end, and then it maintains it in real time. And so if there's new expired listings that are part of your filter, tomorrow, those will also get uploaded to the custom audience, and anybody who relists, they'll pull those out of the custom audience. So if you're doing an expired listing campaign, you could go back and pull the last 2 years of expireds of anybody who hasn't relisted, and you could target those people with ads or organic, boosting. And you are minus the errors in Facebook matching to their people. You're only spending money to target the exact audience that you want to target. So
I want you, Curtis, I know that didn't hit with most people. We made so much money pulling old expireds and FSBOs. Can you just repeat that? So there are probably in our market, there's probably 30 or 40 agents calling an expired that showed up today. There's probably no agents calling an expired from 2020 or 2019 that never sold.
Right.
So can you just say that part again? I want to make sure everyone understands that we've made probably over $1 million marketing to expireds and FSBO, old data, and getting it uploaded. Nothing with social. The social part is like next level.
Right.
But make sure everyone understands that piece of it.
Yeah. So what the tool does is it pulls contact information, but your MLS, as long as your MLS has record of everybody who expired and everybody who listed, you can go as far back as your MLS will allow you to pull expired listing. When you upload that all into our system, it does all the cross-checking for you. And what you're left with is anybody who expired, but then never relisted. And they didn't relist for whatever reason. And, but they're still an expired list. So we have a lot of people who will call expired 10 years. They'll go back 10 years and pull expired listings and call those people and say, why didn't you end up selling? Why'd you end up staying? And from 10 years ago, they have no idea how much equity they've accrued. And those are pretty hot listings. And if you have a resistance to phone prospect to new expireds because it's pretty tough. I mean, it's like jumping in with a bunch of piranhas. There's 30 people calling them. The people are yelling at you oftentimes. I mean, it's really good because most people will relist within 11 days. But if you don't want to call that type of aggressive prospecting, then go do old expires because nobody's calling those people. And they're happy to have a conversation with you. So, but call them or upload them into Meta and target them with some content and then call them. Right.
Yeah. And that strategy works in the platform as well, right? You just create a different list and okay.
Exactly. So you just create a different list and upload it. We do have a lot of templates here that you can just select a template and it's going to fill out what it is here on the ad. We don't do full ad templates because they don't convert, and we're not in the business of taking your money and not having you get business. So if you're never going to make a video, then don't pay the money for this tool because it's just not going to convert as well. You can't put a stock image of a house and expect that this is going to land. You need to make a video that helps validate the problems that the person is seeing, that's what target audience, that's how it works really well on social media. So, but we can give you the text. You can go in and then edit that and pull that in and create the ad. I won't take it through because mine is live. It'll actually create an ad here. But you select your budget, how much a day, just like you would in Facebook. We've just tried to take the complexity out of the Facebook ad manager and simplify it into a few simple steps to say, spend this much money per day, start it and stop it on this date, and that's it. And then when it's rolling.
Real quick, Curtis. Oh, I was going to say, leave it on that page real quick. I was just going to answer Marissa's question. So the way I do, I'll write an ad and then I'll write the ad based on what I would say in a video. So if it was that expired hope one and you tweaked it and you like the way it sound, I would just pick up just do it on your iPhone. And you could do it in segments. Are you frustrated with, your home sitting on the market, disappointed that you couldn't close the deal? I totally get it. The struggle is real. You had your home on the market maybe a year or two ago. Things have changed since then. Market trends can be confusing. Working with a wrong agent can cost you tens of thousands of dollars. I'm experienced at this game. I've been at it for 22 years. I've seen many markets like this. Take action, no obligation whatsoever. I'll give you a free home evaluation or whatever the thing is. It's less than 60 seconds. So if you record for 2 or 3 minutes and you just go into iMovie and you cut out the mistakes, I mean, it's a very easy process. I wouldn't overthink it, but that's the script. I write the ad and then I basically summarize the ad in the script.
Well, that's a great segue into our other social media products, because a lot of people have the same questions about what video, and I'm just telling you, this is not a criticism. It's human nature. Everybody's worried about their hair and their makeup and, what do I look like today? And there's a million excuses to not make a video. And then the permanency that people feel of a video that goes on social media, it just, everybody overthinks it way too much. And so we have a whole tool here we call Brand Builder, because this is all about creating content for that organic reputation that you're trying to build with the leads that you have in the system. And it starts all the way, this is pretty complex. There's a lot of features here I'm going to skip over, but ultimately it starts with creating some ideas here, and you can create an idea with AI. And this isn't just ChatGPT, because there's a lot of like master prompts in the back end that help create a video in the right format, that, with a hook and then, the body and then an outro that's really designed for short form video on social media. So I could put in whatever it is here. I won't spend the time to go through, but this will essentially kick out, like, here's one. I said, make a video about Harley Davidson motorcycles here. And it makes a real short video. I can go in and edit that if I want, or I could just hit record. I actually don't know what will happen with the dual monitors and the
Yeah,
fancy
or
camera I have on here.
Marissa. Yeah, or Marissa, just do what Curtis is telling you to do.
Right. I mean, you could pull this up. It may not register my fancy camera here. So,
So
what a
essentially
terrible demo.
So essentially, it's writing out the 5 sections of the video. It's
Yeah.
it's putting up a recorder with the what to say in each section.
Yeah,
and
it's a full teleprompter right there. So and this is an app on your phone too. So the full teleprompter can be on your app. You'll sit there and record the video. And that's where the magic happens, is then you submit it as a project. And so even if you did tons of different clips, right? This is the sample. Somebody's doing a showcasing a new sandwich shop in their area. They took a whole bunch of clips, maybe some B-roll of them walking in, maybe them going, I'm going to go in here. They can upload all of those clips, and then we have a whole team of people that will take that and edit the video, put captions and emoji stamps and trend music and everything on the whole thing to produce a full video, right? So let me try to find an example here. These are completed projects. So we pull up a couple of things and then they'll produce it with full cap. If anybody follows me on Instagram, Curtis Fenn official, all of my stuff goes through this. And so you could get on there, but it could be pretty raw, bad, and they'll edit, they'll put in B-roll, they'll put in background videos and everything to do that. So then you end up with videos that you can then go straight and post them right on social media.
Real quick, do you pay subscription per month and you get a certain number of videos, or per video?
Yeah, this one is $900 a month for unlimited video. So you can only have one project at a time. So realistically, if you're really, if you put in the effort, you could easily do 30 videos a month on that. So
constantly have projects rolling.
Yeah, constantly have projects rolling. They'll edit. You can post it. We do have a whole social media management product that's an additional $600, so $1,500 a month. It's your whole social media platform. You get all of the tools. You get unlimited video. We manage 5 platforms where we post it. We manage the boosting to the data that you may or may not have inside of Vortex. So we do have that option as well, where we manage up to 5 platforms. All short forms. So you'd want YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, probably LinkedIn, and whatever.
Awesome.
So,
if somebody has like questions about the different types of products that you guys offer, did they get on like a strategy session with you guys, or what's?
Yeah. So this one you'd want a full demo because of the price. The data starts at $30 or $40 a month. Right? You can pull in all of the FSBOs and start making custom audience. So data is go buy the data and start using it for prospecting and social media, and get it on there. And because
Paul,
you can.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but Paul had a question that I missed last time.
Okay.
Does this data quality vary by state? He's in South Carolina. Is it an issue in some MLSs versus others?
So data quality, yeah, some MLSs are tough. Like if you're in an area with Rapatoni right now, that's been a whole mess because they got hacked and the whole system's down everywhere. And we obviously can't pull data when their systems are down. And there's other difficult MLSs that, like Bright MLS, only allows you to export a certain amount of data at a time. So it does vary a little bit, but we have full staff that will walk you through and help you figure out all of that. In terms of data quality that gets returned, that does vary even by city. That goes through. But when you're using it for prospecting versus social media, this is going to sound weird, but your data quality matters less, because if I find an old email address for Lars, it actually is more likely the email address that he signed up for Facebook with than his current email address. And so when you're matching data in social media, some of that data quality matters less because they're going to go out and find who that person is and match it to their system.
And the data sources, it'll pull single family condos, land, whatever.
It does. Yep, it does. There's and then this is what I was talking about here. In different states, are some of that data insight stuff is much more, varies about a 60% hit rate in a lot of those other places. But I'll show you in some of these though, where we're pulling all of this data on every lead, right? It's the financial insights, all of the home information. On expired listing, you already have this from the MLS, but if you're pulling in a neighborhood circle prospecting, this can be helpful. And then we even have lifestyle insight. This is where it gets kind of creepy, right? So we know that this person has pets. We don't know what kind of pets, probably multiple. And this information is based on what they spend their credit card on, which is kind of creepy. But you know, we know this person probably shops at Lowe's and Home Depot a lot because they're into self-improvement. So you can filter down some of these things. All the leads also have market insights. This is really valuable information if you just grab this information and make your quick video about this, because this is based on the zip code of the lead that we're pulling in. So it'll give you all of this information of what's going on in the market in that zip code. This is updated every 7 days in every zip code in the country, based on data. So this is very accurate throughout the whole country. Data insights is very dependent on where you're at, because like this is pretty full where we're getting all of those fields. Some of them you might only see household income and estimated mortgage debt, right? And you won't see all of the rest of the things.
Awesome. So if you're in an MLS where it pulls estimated equity and mortgage, I mean, you can probably pull.
So we aggregate this through a whole bunch of variety sources, not the MLS.
Got it. Okay.
So I'm just talking about what the match rates are on different lead types. So expired listings, is going to be the same. If you're in a market that has less data insights, it's going to be the same for all of the different lead types.
Yeah. Awesome. Kevin, we ran out of time. Kevin had a question about showing an example of one of the videos. I would go to that link and just book in a consultation. And I really do recommend everyone get on the basic platform. This is kind of a no-brainer for the different lead sources. But then you can plug into the other stuff, which is all new stuff that I haven't seen before. So, Curtis, appreciate you. I just dropped the link that you guys gave me. Is that the best way that these guys can?
Yeah, redxbrandbuilder.com. We'll give you before and after video edits and pictures and really explain the higher end. But again, when you're talking, $1,500 a month, we're saying, hey, hire us instead of hiring a team. So if you're not to that point in your business, we have a lot of resources to teach you how to do those videos and do the edits and use different AI tools to do your video edits. You could do all of that without spending the $1,500 a month. That don't jump on that if you're not prospecting and getting listings from the data. Don't think that that's like hiring a marketing team. So if you're not there, but I would highly recommend doing a demo with somebody on the team before you make that type of investment.
Awesome. All right, brother. Appreciate your time. Thank you everyone for your attention. Good stuff. We'll see you guys next week. Much love, much respect. Thanks again, Curtis. Appreciate you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.